Well, we're still keeping our attention on what now many people call the big R, that's restructuring. And joining us to give us another perspective is Dr. Oke Ikechukwu, MNI, who's Executive Director of Development Specs Academy and a columnist and also former lecturer at the University of Lagos. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much.
So what do you make of all the conversation that you have heard so far? What can you distill from it, and where do you think we should be looking?
The first point is that there's no clear view about what restructuring means from the conversation of the earlier speakers and from general discussions around the country. First, for some people, restructuring is about a confederation. The units will go their way. For some, it's about a change in the revenue formula. For others, it's a nebulous idea about freedom with no thought about how they'll manage it, even if it comes.
When you say that, there is no consensus on it, I mean, when people from the political class say that, they look at them with a lot of suspicion, especially from the APC.
Yes, for a simple reason. Many of them are saying it sounds popular. So if you keep...
not the idea of restructuring, the idea that there is no consensus on what it means.
Oh, yes. Because it doesn't really mean anything if you want to... Look, if the government wants to make this easy, call everybody together to agree on what restructuring is. It will not happen.
So do you think it will go far now that they're gathering memoranda on what to try and get the definition or to get, proper feeler of what the term restructuring means to people?
No, I don't think they will make much progress with that for a simple reason. It's a missed opportunity. The APC is a political party, right?
It is.
It is not the federal government. The mileage the government would have made from calling a national discussion or conversation on national conferences on restructuring is what is being squandered. Imagine that this thing was convened and the president came and flagged it off and said that in response to the growing clamor of Nigerians, to the unrest among the youths, I've come to see that Nigerians want some form of restructuring. And it is my duty as president, commander-in-chief, to create the platform for that to happen because this is a democracy.
That sounds like a speech that was read in 2014 by Goodluck.
Yes, but this time on restructuring. Imagine that President Buhari said this sort of thing.
Because what I'm trying to say is that this is not the first time, or that would not be the first time that any president will be reading out such a speech.
Yes.
It's in response to the clamors that the 2014 National Conference was set up. Some people say simply go back to the 2014 National Conference and pick it up. No. But you understand that the APC was not a part of that 2014 National Conference.
Yes, but who is the APC was not a Nigerian in 2014. The point I'm making is that a political party is convening public hearings on restructuring. If the PDP were doing that now, or the Labour Party, what would be the response? This is just a wrong-headed move. That's my position.
But aren't the party in power? I mean, considering the fact that they promised that they were going to restructure in their manifesto, shouldn't they be doing that now? So
if PDP had convened the National Conference of 2014, how would that have sounded? This is a government of the APC. So it's the government that we elected on the platform of that party. What I'm saying is that the move is it has a mistaken focus. And you had the comment of the gentleman who spoke the elder who spoke from Lagos. With Nasir El-Rufai as the head, you should be sensitive to public perception, even if it's wrong. He's seen to hold very strong anti-restructuring views, so why put him at the head of it? I'm making 3 points. Point number 1, it shouldn't have been the APC holding a public hearing on restructuring. It is a party, it should have been the government. Point number 2, the fear of restructuring is predicated on the assumption that there's a consensus on what it means. Number 3, call all those who are speaking of restructuring, let them sit down and agree. They will not. So the opportunity to bring to the public domain the fact that we need to, first of all, ascertain what restructuring is being missed. Some
people will say that perhaps that is not being fair to the governor of Kaduna State, considering that, I have interviewed him, I have heard him talk about restructuring, and he says that their party did agree to certain elements of, for the federal government to shed weight. I mean, he said that. So why would people have the perception that he's against restructuring?
The perception is different from the reality. I'm not talking about reality. You've spoken with him. Some have very strong views about him being pro-restructuring from the angle of equity. I have no opinion on that. I've not spoken with him. What I'm saying is that If you aggregate the national conversation on restructuring today, his name will not fall among those general perception sees as well disposed towards it. That's number one, but that's a matter of opinion. Number two, as earlier observed, isn't there somebody else who could have been the face of this engagement, apart from the governor of Kaduna State? I think there could have been. I think there should have been. I think that putting him at the head of it was a mistake. It's not a comment about his person or his views, but about what the party and the government could have done to gain better mileage on this public hearing.
But this is the path that they have chosen. The party is now the one going around to collect memorandum. And we've already seen that a number of people are coming forward to give their views, including state governors, in terms of what they expect their journey to achieve at the end of the day. Do you think that they will be able to influence government to look in that direction? Or even their members of the National Assembly, for instance?
I don't think so. You see, this is a conversation among the elite. This is a nation that is now very seriously fractured along ethnic, religious, and other lines. You want to create what you might call a groundswell of consensus, and you want a public hearing. Why not set NGOs to come out with their views? Why not call youth organizations to talk? You see, when you have... Babangida did an excellent job of setting...
Aren't they invited?
The question is not whether they are invited. If I'm the head of Boko Haram and I invite you, you will come. Your perception of me will determine what you do with the invitation I send. Oh, my daughter is getting married and I send invitations everywhere. And somebody, oh, is he not that one who doesn't greet when I respond when I greet him? So it's not whether... This is the reflex, the formal reflex of an occasion. You send an invitation. There are undercurrents that determine what the potential guest will do with that invitation. APC is a political party. Other parties want to remove the APC. So you think they will go, even if they see it's going to be credible, they will try to undermine it. So better, if it had been on the platform of the government, you see, this is the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a sovereign state. Whether you like the government or not, is convening a public event, putting official face to it. If you don't come, you were invited.
This is not the first time we're saying that. I mean,
yes.
We just mentioned that in 2014,
yes.
The federal government then convened a conference, a national conference. The APC declined to go because they had their own perception of what the conference was meant to achieve.
Yes.
So, I mean, some people will say it doesn't matter how or who is convening it. This undercurrent will always be prevalent. Yes,
but you see, you minimize the possibilities of lack of credibility by the decisions you make. Now, this is the APC convening. Not the point I'm making. I'm not against the public forum. It's a very brilliant idea because it will enable some people actually discover they are talking nonsense. Some will say, yes, I've told them, and go home. They just wanted to be heard. The point is that when it is the APC convening, and under the current fracture situation, you've taken away some... There's an integrity deficit, whether you like it or not, for those who don't like APC. Now, for those who also didn't, who said I don't want the United, who raised issues about the 2014 conference, what happened? They were a minority, and it went on, it came out with decisions. If not that the government was partially sleepwalking, it could have been implemented. The point I'm making is that I see this public hearing as a golden opportunity that will have led to a rebound for the government. Given President Buhari's speech after he came back from his sick leave, that speech, was it reassuring to Nigerians? No. For the same president to now come and say, well, democracy is about self-expression, about consultation. This conversation will take place. So I'm speaking from the angle of what would have worked better for government and worked better for Nigerians, and even impacted positively on the image of the personality of the president. You convene an APC hearing, public hearing, and then the governor's IPC, and you look, you see there's a difference between what you say and what you understood to be saying. The bit of it we've seen on TV, you can see people who want to finish what they're saying there and go. Nigerians are not involved.